The enemy isn't the problem, your pride is. In college, I thought asking for help made me weak. And that pride cost me opportunities I'll never see again. And you've been lied to. Success is not built by yourself. It only comes through God's guidance. Now, in this Bible study today, in Joshua chapter 2, I'm going to reveal 3 truths to you that you can apply today so pride no longer blocks you from God's promises. Our scriptural focus for today is going to be Joshua chapter 2, verses 8 through 13. Beginning in verse 8. Before the men fell asleep, she went up on the roof and said to them, I know the Lord has given you this land, and that the terror of you has fallen on us. And everyone who lives in the land is panicking because of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea before you, when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the 2 Amorite kings you completely destroyed across the Jordan. When we heard this, we lost heart. Everyone's courage failed because of you. For the Lord your God is in heaven above and on earth below. Now please swear to me by the Lord that you will show kindness to my father's family, because I show kindness to you. Give me a sure sign that you will spare the lives of my father, mother, brothers, sisters, and all who belong to them, and save us from death. This reminds me of my experience of transitioning into college. Like, I've learned so many different things in this 3-year period of being here at A&T. Moving 7 hours away from home into the land of unfamiliar as a freshman student. Sometimes you have all the time, you have no one to lean on but the Lord. And as a freshman, God will place many different people to help you in many different ways, because you're on a journey you haven't been on before, you haven't embarked on before. And that's what happened to me. I had no choice but to, and still to this day, I have no choice but to lean on the Lord. This reminds me of when I first came to A&T for orientation. Coming to A&T for orientation as an out-of-state student, we were going over billing and scholarships. And my bill was due very soon. And as I was navigating through orientation, I remember praying and just talking to God and just asking, like, man, I need my bill, like my bill is due. Like, I need some kind of assistance. I need some kind of help from somebody, some way, somehow. And as orientation was continually going through, eventually I got an email from someone I've never seen before. And it told me I was awarded a scholarship that would be renewed throughout my duration of being at A&T. Our God is a helper. He hears our prayers. When we're in transition on the journey, you have no choice but to lean on God, and He will allow people to be placed in your life so you can help them. I had never even met the person who awarded me the scholarship before, prior to me coming there. How would He choose me? It was nobody but God. God will allow people to help you in the journey while you're transitioning into where He needs you to be at. Another thing I began to notice on my transition into college is that you begin to notice that certain people, because certain people have a name attached to them, when they walk into the room, they've already won over that room. When I think about party promoters and TikTok famous people and business owners, especially being at an HBCU like A&T, there are so many different people when they walk into the room. People already know who they are. They've already won half the battle just because of the name that's attached to them. These people don't have to work as hard because of the name that's attached to them, and seeing how people will give into doing certain things just because of a name being attached to them. The name that's attached to you is so vital because it changes the perception of what someone perceives you. It changes the perception of how someone will view you, how someone will treat you. And it's crazy just seeing that happen at A&T for the good or even for the bad. Being at A&T, also another thing that I've noticed while transitioning into college is being at A&T, you hear many stories of how their yes coming to A&T changed their life for the good and for the bad. I've heard plenty of stories of people saying, my life would never be how it is if I didn't come to A&T. For the good and for the bad, for the choices they made in undergrad, that were good, that allowed them to be in a six-figure career, or the choices they made in undergrad that delayed the promise that God had for them. Many successful people have come through A&T, and because of their yes to attend the school, many of their families have been changed forever. My family life will be changed forever because I made the decision to attend A&T. Your yes is strong enough to change lives. Now, in context, for verses 8 through 13 we read, Joshua had sent 2 spies to scout out the land of Jericho. And on their journey, they encountered a prostitute named Rehab. The king of Jericho found out about the spies and sent people to look for them. But by faith, Rehab had taken the spies into her home and hid them from the king's people. Rehab saves the 2 spies and proceeds to make an agreement with them that when they come to take over the land, that their family will be saved and they will not harm her household. The 2 spies make the agreement with Rehab and promise her as long as she stays in the house and ties a scarlet cord around the house, it will be a sign to avoid this house when they come in to take over the land. The spies stayed for 3 days, and then they went back to Joshua to report what happened. Point 1, God can use anybody for help. Rahab was a prostitute whom most would say she had no business associating herself with God's plan. But God can use anybody. You are not too far gone for God to use you or to allow someone else to use somebody else in the plans that he has for you. This reminds me of what Paul says. Paul says that he was the worst of the worst, but God used him to demonstrate his extraordinary patience. You're not too far gone for God to use you, or for God to use you to help somebody else in their journey. Nobody is excluded from helping God's people. When it's a calling, you must walk out. Rahab should have been doing prostitute business, but she was a part of God's plan to assist his people, showing us God can use anybody when you're in an alignment with his plans. You should not worry nor fret when it's in the Lord's will, because help will come to you when you don't expect it. It will come out of nowhere, like with my scholarship story. It came and I did not know. That is confirmation a lot of times when you're in alignment with God's plans, because help will come out of places you never even dreamed of, from people you never even knew. And my emotions when I was going through that, I was just shocked. I was just like, wow, like I was not expecting that. But that's where faith comes into play. You have to know that when you're on the journey, when you're in alignment with God's plans, have enough faith that God will send people to help you along the journey, that you don't have to do it on your own. Point 2, coming in the name of the Lord wins half the battle. Now, in those verses, the people were already afraid of Joshua and his people before they even arrived, just because of the name that was associated with them. The people knew they had no chance of defeating Joshua because of whom they were associated with. The signs and wonders God had already performed with the Israelites was enough to strike fear in them. Fear will cause you to lose the battle mentally before you even step foot on the field. Like when you're playing football, right? One of the things that cornerbacks do the best at, they are one of the best at doing, is they strike fear into their opponent. They strike fear into the receiver before the ball is snapped. So they get into the head of the receiver, so that before the ball is even thrown at you, you've already lost the battle. You won't even catch the ball. There are trash talkers like Richard Sherman and Jalen Ramsey. They are good at this because they will try to strike fear in you and mentally mess you up and allow you to lose the battle before you even step into battle, before the ball even snaps. And the example of this, of why the people were already scared of Joshua and his people, was because of the drying of the Red Sea. The drying up of the Red Sea was so powerful, they knew the Lord did it. There was no way possible that human hands were able to dry up a Red Sea. There's no way people could part the Red Sea and cross through it without the hand of God. In Exodus chapter 14, verse 21, it says, "Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. The Lord drove the sea back with a powerful east wind all that night and turned the sea into dry land. So the waters were divided." Moses was the vessel, but God was the one who did it. And Joshua and his people were coming in the name of the Lord, the same God that did that. So Rahab and the people who lived in that land was already afraid. Therefore, they had already won half the battle. Once you strike fear into somebody, the battle is already you already won half the battle. With Shion and Og, they weren't shocked when they heard that they defeated these two kings. Shion and Og were two powerful kings in the land, but they stood no chance against the Lord. Shion tried to deny the Israelites from crossing through the land when they weren't even no part in the land. So he confronted them. And when he confronted them, guess what? He died and he lost everything, and the Israelites gained the land. They got extra because they came in the name of the Lord, and the enemy tried to come against them, and they killed him and took over his land. Og was related to a group of giants who the Israelites had already defeated. Rehab mentioned these three events because they hold some significance in knowing that human hands were not capable of doing these things. Knowing that they're coming in the name of the same God who did this, we stand no chance against them. So you walk in the name of the Lord when you're in alignment with his plans, and know that the enemy they stand no chance against you. And point 3, your yes can change your family's life. Because by faith, Rehab helped the spies. This changed her family's life. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 31 says, by faith, Rehab the prostitute did not perish with those who were disobedient, because she had given them a friendly welcome to the spies. We forget that our yes to the Lord is not just for us, but it has the ability to change our whole lineage of life. Imagine if Rehab did not have enough faith to say yes to the Lord. Her whole family would have died along with her when Joshua and his people came, and the Israelites would have came through Jericho. They would have died, but Rehab had enough faith to say yes to the Lord, and it changed her whole family's life. My yes going to A&T has the ability to change my family's life. My yes to fully accepting the Lord has changed my life beyond measure. Biblically, Noah saying yes to the Lord saved many lives when he built the ark. Abraham's yes to going to sacrifice his son brought a promise from the Lord that Abraham was able to walk out. Our yes to the Lord has the ability to do wonders and save others. So in closing, know that God will send you help along the way. Coming in the name of the Lord already wins half the battle. Your yes to the Lord will change your life and those around. So I hope this blessed you. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for part 3 as we walk through the book of Joshua. God bless.